And now for our theme song. Welcome back. My name is Norbert Morvan, and over there is M. Phillips, a.k.a. the Pirate Dread Roberts. I'm sorry.
The Pirate Thomas Blood.
Thomas Blood, that's what it is. That's so great, man. I love it.
That's an actual ancestor of mine. He stole the crown jewels of England, and the king was so impressed that he decided not to punish him for it.
Sure, why not, man? You know, white privilege. It's a great thing.
No, it wasn't that. Remember, back in these days, white and black didn't even exist.
That's right. There you go. Way to check it. Way to check it. All right, brother. Let's get started with the lightning round. Yes, sir. True or false? Tim Walz's family hates his guts.
Wow. The new VP pick, who I think was strategically smart decision from the Democrats, one of their first non-stupid decisions in maybe 15 years. I don't know, but let me guess. I got to go for one or the other, yes or no. Does his family hate him? I'm going to guess no.
You're going to guess no, and you would probably be right. Good for you, man. Good for you. Yeah. So,
but point out why I could have gotten this wrong.
So here's the deal. This guy has got a huge family, you know, and according to USA Today, and this guy, anybody that wears a hat like this, you need to worry. You know what I mean? This guy here, Herbster, not Webster. Herbster says, oh, Tim Walz's family back in Nebraska wants you to know, hey, they're for Trump. All right. Yeah, they're his family for Trump. However, the truth of the matter is, USA Today confirmed the family photo of Walz's family members was posted on Twitter by Charles Herbster, a cattle rancher from Nebraska, of course, and a former Republican gubernatorial candidate. These are the descendants of Joseph Francis Walz, the brother of Walz's grandfather. So these are his 17th cousins, twice removed or whatever.
Nebraska, that's definitely got to be one of the worst states. Nobody lives there, right? Like, there's like 5 people that live in Nebraska, right?
And apparently a lot of cows. Apparently a lot of cows. A lot of cows. So, you know, his wife seems to like him, you know, the daughter and the son that they pulled out in DNC. But, yeah. Apparently, like the Roosevelts, the Kennedys, and Trumps, Walz's family is the most recent to oppose their relative's candidacy, including the Minnesota governor's older brother, Jeff, who posted a Labor Day weekend post on Facebook to discuss their estranged relationship. The two haven't spoken in 8 years, according to Jeff, and he is, quote, 100% opposed to Walz's ideology, unquote. So if your brother hates you, it's not your whole family, but, you know, that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, I am happy with some of what I've heard Walz say about unions and whatnot. I think this is the most full-throated union discourse we've heard from the Democrats for about 20 years, I think.
He has done some nice things in Minnesota. Minnesota? I keep thinking Nebraska. It's just like because
he's Minnesota.
He's out there in Minnesota. I mean, he's done some nice things, you know. Of course, he did also create the snitch line if you didn't get a vaccine. So that's not nice, But if you look at the Minnesota.gov website, Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan established ironclad reproductive freedom protections for trans individuals and gender affirming care. It's fundamental rights in Minnesota. And he banned conversion therapy, which that's not nice. That's not nice. He banned the use of cell phones while driving. Ooh.
Wait,
raised the age.
He banned conversion therapy as in like trans persons wanting to get trans surgeries or this kind of thing, or what?
It was a practice where if you were gay, you would go to the doctor and, why are you gay?
Okay,
stop being gay. That's not nice.
Because that's abuse, right?
Yeah. The age to buy cigarettes is up to 21. He raised that. He provided $300 million for public safety needs to combat crime. And he broke ground on a new Minnesota State Patrol headquarters. There you go. And he took meaningful action to protect communities from gun violence, signing bills establishing a red flag law, expanding background checks, increasing penalties for straw purchasing guns, and banning deadly binary trigger guns. They established paid leave, insured sick days, banned non-compete agreements, increased protections for workers in hospitals. So he's got some nice things.
The other reason why I thought he was a smart pick for the Democrats was not just his sort of more liberal-leaning, positions on many things, but also maybe more importantly, I've heard him speak. The guy is a little bit of a bulldog. I like that. Like if they're going to have a VP, they should be personally compelling in some way. And a lot of the VP picks have not been that way over the, past few decades.
Yeah. Quayle and Bush. Quayle was not an attack dog. Al Gore, not an attack dog. Joe Biden, kind of a psycho. Bit of an attack dog when he was with Obama, for sure. Pence secretly loves his mother in a weird way. So this guy gets to be the tough guy, for sure. And Kamala is not super left. I mean, she was, and then she didn't win any primary votes. So, well, back to the center. I mean, the right. I'm sorry. So, yeah, you got this guy. All right. Moving on in the lightning round. Okay. The next one is true or false. Dick Cheney is cool now.
Dick Cheney is cool now. Yes, among Democrats, that is true.
For God's sake, Dick Cheney is cool. Oh my God. Dick Cheney is cool now, Matt. Dick Cheney is cool now, Matt. No, it's true, but it shouldn't be true. Look at this man. Still alive. Literally refusing to die. Oh my God. From the BBC.
I saw the movie Vice a couple weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago or so. It was decent. It was decent. I think it's not a perfect gem. It's a little bit flawed in some respects, but it's a good movie. Some people might, disagree with the basic premise, which is, that Cheney was the mastermind behind the Bush administration. And yeah, I mean, you can sort of like poke holes in some of the ideas that they're putting forth there, but I think it's a good watch. Good performances by the actors.
The movie was good, but this man, how long has he been in politics? Since Nixon?
Yeah, right. Since the 70s, right? The mid 70s, at least.
Behind the scenes, man. And so many of those Nixon guys, him, Roger Ailes, ends up making Fox News the way that Nixon would have wanted. You know what I mean? This guy becomes a billionaire off of, there's no way he's not a billionaire too. From what he did with Halliburton, he's definitely low key just swimming in a Scrooge McDuck style money bin as much as his, robot heart allows. But Kamala Harris gets the endorsement of Dick Cheney. He was an influential figure, according to the BBC. An influential, which is a nice way of saying he run tings no run he. My God. Cheney had the nerve to issue a statement saying, quote, "There has never been an individual who's a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump," unquote. Dick Cheney, the man who plunged America into a 20-year war. He was against gay marriage until his daughter came out.
Yeah, Trump, as bad as he is sort of like pretty anodyne compared to Cheney.
It's insane, but there is no way that Donald Trump is more dangerous to America than Dick Cheney. There's no way. The state of the country after 8 years of Bush was so dark. People with no jobs.
They ran the country into the ground.
They literally did. They brought out John Ashcroft to sing in front of the covered up picture of Justice because it had a titty out. Let the Eagles so. No. And even when he's telling the truth here, Trump tried to steal the last election. Sure he did. What would you know about getting elections stolen, Dick Cheney?
Florida, 2000.
They actually put the Secretary of State in Florida? They appointed that woman, and so we're just going to stop counting the votes now. The Brooks Brothers riot. All of these things happen under Dick Cheney. As citizens, we each have a duty to put country above partisanship to defend our Constitution. That's why I'll be casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
My question for you, Norbert, the Democrats' opposition in the early 2000s was genuine or fake?
When you say opposition to
Cheney and Bush, and
as we have gone along all of these years, it really does seem like they're just playing a role. We need a bad guy. G.I. Joe needs Cobra Commander. So they raise funds off of these type of people. Because what kind of things has Biden done that Trump also did? Let's see. Ignore COVID. A lot. Let's see. Bomb the hell out of places. Give money to countries that want to bomb the hell out of places.
Mistreating
the immigrants in cages thing was a big deal until Biden became the president.
And the Democrats, they were all on board with the war on terror as far as votes were concerned.
Oh, the vast majority of them voted for it.
So there might have been a rank and file of Democrats that were earnestly against Bush and Cheney. I grant that. But in the early 2000s. But unfortunately, it seems like a lot of rank and file Democrats today are willing to just forget about all of that.
And people say that it's because his daughter, Liz Cheney, ended up losing her seat to a Trump candidate. So this is why. This is one of the reasons why. But I don't think he's been against Trump for years. He's been against Trump, I think, even before that. So I don't think this is just the case. He likes the Reagan style silent evil versus where they can at least make coherent sentences in a speech versus just psycho Trump evil, where today I feel like killing everyone. Tomorrow, who knows?
Yeah, it's only aesthetics and nothing much more than that.
Compassionate conservatism. Remember that? So ridiculous, man. Oh my God. All right.
Well,
Let's go.
A quick quote that aligns with some of the ideas there. The executive of the modern state is but a committee for managing the common affairs of the whole bourgeoisie.
And who's that from?
That is Marx and Engels in the Communist Manifesto.
Okay. Cheney's whole thing was expanding the power of the executive branch to absurd levels so that he could do whatever he wants. You know? Gee, does Donald Trump like to... Him and Trump seem to have that in common. How interesting. Dick Cheney is a jerk. Why is he still alive? This guy. All right. Next one, my friend. True or false? The Hells Angels are fighting Venezuelan gangs in Colorado because freedom and justice.
This is a difficult one because I don't live in Colorado, and
No one does.
Well, no, I mean Colorado is a fairly populous state, but that just sounds on the face of it bizarro. So I'm going to say no.
That is absolutely false. Good job. Good job. It's a crazy story that started its way across Twitter. You got Brandon M. 2 strikes against Brandon M. Number 1, he's got a blue check. Number 2, he's got an American flag as profile. 3rd strike, first name, bunch of numbers. Is Brandon M a real human being? Maybe, maybe not. But this made its way across Twitter that allegedly hundreds of Hells Angels bikers are on the way to Aurora, Colorado right now to take back the TDA-controlled apartment complexes. I'll update this thread with more info if real.
What's
TDA?
What's TDA?
I have no idea. Okay. Oh my God. So this was last week that, apparently an apartment complex in Colorado was taken over like the Carter in New Jack City. And the only way that it was going to be freed was the Hells Angels. Of course, come to find out that actually, no. Not only is there not a gang of Venezuelans taking over an apartment building, but actually, CBZ management, the people that own the apartment complex, they're slumlords. They've ruined the place. And apparently it was them who put the idea out there that Venezuelan gangs were taking over because money, 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 money. Years of complaints and violations at CBZ management properties preceded the national controversy. I have bed bugs in my apartment. I have cockroaches. I have rats. My kids are covered in bites. Bed bug bites, man. Juan Carlos Alvarado Jimenez, a Venezuelan immigrant living in the Edge at Lowry Apartments in Northwest Aurora, said through a translator, I don't see any criminals here. I think we all know who the real criminals are here. Have you ever lived in a bad apartment? And it's not just bad, but the rats and roaches are the ones who are in control here, not the humans. You know what I mean? This is from the Colorado Newsline. What do you think about that, man?
That is some crazy shit, right? I think, I guess it's an intersection of just so many different weird threads, but 2 of the major threads here are immigration, number 1, and the shitty housing situation for, like the bottom 60 or 70% of America, right?
They have had problems here for years at this place. the migrants started arriving in large numbers in 2023, early 2023, like the first quarter. The first claims about the apartment complexes being taken over by gangs were circulated by far-right Colorado political figures. What are the odds in late July? Representatives of CBZ management repeated the claims in the days leading up to the city's condemnation of Fitzsimmons Place. At the time, Aurora Mayor Mike Hoffman, a Republican former member of Congress, called the company out-of-state slumlords who were attempting to shift the blame for the problems they caused. The problems in the building certainly precede any problems with Venezuelan gangs, Mike Hoffman said on August 9. The problems even persisted the migrant crisis. So it used to be known as the Bahamas Apartments, and the problem started in they have headlines going up to 2021. There were pests, broken appliances, a ceiling fell, the ceiling collapsed, the toilet fell through the ceiling, like that Tom Hanks movie. So it's just real interesting how, you know what? Venezuelans did it. Venezuelans did it, man. Yeah, it's all them. But, I've been looking for a new apartment. And so here's the website of CBZ Management. Ooh, la, 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 la. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing. Our team at CBZ Management is your leading provider of quality rental apartments across Colorado and New York. So if you want to live in a shitty apartment outside of Colorado, they got you covered. The tenants have access to endless outdoor recreation activities and entertainment venues galore. Like, for example, protests. It's an exciting thing that everyone takes part in. So, yeah, there is that, man. It's the incredible racism to say that it's the brown people, obviously, that are ruining the apartment, not the slumlord. And just the idea that it just took off on Twitter, yeah, the Hells Angels are coming. Do you know the Hells Angels have done anything good other than be incredibly litigious about their insignia? All they do is sue people over their insignia. October 26, 1989, the Hells Angels lodge a federal lawsuit in L.A. against Concord New Horizons, which produced the film Knob Angels, because they infringed on the club's registered trademarks. They sought an injunction to block the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation from broadcasting the miniseries because how closely the biker gang looked like the Hells Angels. March 07, they sued Walt Disney, alleging that Wild Hogs, the movie, terrible movie, used the name and the logo of what are they going to do? Sue the Venezuelan gangs?
Now, in the late '60s, weren't they connected to various somewhat high-profile political
murder?
Yeah, for example, I think there was Altamont, and then there was also Charlie Manson, right?
These are the people who are going to save you from Venezuelan gangs taking over your apartment. Right. The disturbing thing is how so many people just, yeah, man, they're coming. They're coming to bring justice. The Hells Angels are back. Oh, man, this is why I drink. Okay. So, yeah, that's it for that.
I've been reading, however, recently, there's this sort of theory that Charlie Manson was a subject of MK Ultra experimentation.
They really did used to just spike people's drinks and see what would happen.
And the whole operation was apparently one of the motivations was to sort of shitcoat the hippies, make it so that the hippies' ideas and their movements were associated in the general public with flakiness and danger and whatnot.
Beyond just the smoking weed and sex.
Right.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Well, the good news is here they come to save the day, man. The Hells Angels. I personally can't wait until the Hells Angels come and save us all. Oh, my God. All right. And the last one I have in the lightning round is true or false? The Houthis have defeated like all the navies, all of them.
Yeah, thus far, yeah, that's true.
You are correct, sir. You are correct. Remember when it was a big deal that the Houthis were like blowing up boats and doing Pirates of the Caribbean, but for real, in the Red Sea? And they were going to ruin global trade. And also, while you're sleeping, they might steal your milk and cookies and punch the tooth fairy in the face. So you don't see much about the Houthis on TV anymore. And there was I love the different operation names. What was this one? Like Operation Enduring Cheese or something like that?
Prosperity Guardian.
Thank you. Yeah, something like that. 10 months into the Houthi blockade of the Red Sea, industry experts are again asking if the Iran-backed militia has defeated 2 international naval coalitions trying to keep open the vital shipping route through which $1 trillion of goods pass every year. $1 trillion. So it looks like the Houthis started this because they were basically protesting the destruction of Gaza. And this is their protest. And according to UN law, they had the right to do something to stop the attack. So they decided, okay, no more Super Nintendo, kids. We're shutting this down. Shut it down. Unfortunately, the United States got bored with it, looks like, the United States and France. And they have found another way to get the shipping around. Initially, they were going through here. This one from the BBC. They were going through here. You got the Houthi controlled area. You got the contested area. And these are all the different places that they were just wreaking havoc, smashing stuff, not letting people get through. But unfortunately, there's a new way for them to go. They're around the Cape of Good Hope, I believe that is, which is all the way around the South Africa, I believe they have to go, instead of their initial ways, which was through the Red Sea. This one from Sea Trade Maritime. Almost all the services from the top 10 container lines have diverted via the Cape of Good Hope. An escalation of Houthi attacks would have little impact, according to analyst Liner Lytica. That's a complicated name. So, what say you?
I've got a great Twitter thread that I'm trying to find on Yemen. But first, I have a good quote as regards Yemen. Quote, "The U.S. Navy has thrown its hands up in defeat and sailed away."
Yeah, they left. They're like, all right, fine, you guys, you got this. Any further escalation of the Red Sea crisis would have a limited impact on the container markets, as only 14% of the ships currently deployed on the Asia-Europe trade are using the Suez Canal. From Lytica, according to Sea Trade Maritime News. Only 72 of the 513 ships currently operating on Asia-Europe trades are still using Suez Canal, and there are mainly smaller operators based in China, Russia, Singapore, Turkey, and the UAE. So capitalism going capitalism, man. They just, yeah, okay, we'll just go another way. Of course, then inflation, but they've been robbing people's pockets through price gouging all this time anyway. So it's just another excuse.
Well, so one of the themes that has been on my mind, especially strongly over the past few weeks or months, is influenced by this book that I'm reading. It's called Democracy Against Capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
It's a collection of essays published in 1995 by Ellen Meiksins Wood.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ideas she's trying to tackle is this sort of collision of democracy and capitalism. And in a sense, she's asking, can we really have anything resembling a real substantive democracy if we have capitalism? And she's a socialist, so obviously her answer is no. But,
and it doesn't seem like it from what we have seen.
Yeah. And the thing I'm going to bring up is dovetails, with some of the things we've already covered thus far in this episode here. But let me give you just this quote here. She's talking about the mass mobilizations that we saw in numerous countries in Europe in the 17th and 18th century.
Mm-hmm.
And she quotes Eric Hobsbawm, and it's a long quote, but I'm only going to give you the last part of the quote, so it's much shorter. Quote, "The age of democratization thus turned into the era of public political hypocrisy, or rather duplicity, and hence also into that of political satire."
Mm-hmm.
So she takes the U.S. As an example. And so the Federalists were continually looking to Greek democracy, but not for a positive example, but as a negative example. Basically, they thought that that system had too much democracy.
The people could actually
make decisions.
Vote. Yeah.
Yeah, and they also had sort of a more direct democracy, and so like the process of sortition, for example, was quite common, where sortition is basically just like a random choosing of persons rather than an election of supposedly the best.
Mm-hmm.
And because anybody can be chosen, that means you have an incentive to make sure that everybody is brought up to a nice.
Everybody has a minimum level of civics knowledge and what's going on in the country.
Exactly. And so, anyways, this idea that she's talking about in this chapter is how basically the democracy that the U.S. has is basically a sham. It's a sham democracy. And it's more properly described as an oligarchy. But it gives everybody a citizenship. But the problem is the citizenship that is bequeathed to now all the citizens, but of course not originally all, right? The citizenship is almost vacant completely. Like, of course, there's the negative value of the negative liberties that people have, and that's great. You do enjoy certain freedom from certain oppressions, and she says, okay, those are great. We're not going to argue against those, but the freedom to do anything positive, of course, is extremely limited. Extremely limited. And so, yeah, this picture that she's drawing of the United States, I just thought was quite stark and illuminating, because, even very informed people on the left often have sort of wrong ideas about what U.S. democracy really is. And to bring it to things that actual, solid things, real things that are happening today. Like, look at the administration today, Biden. I mean, is he actually making decisions?
It doesn't seem like it. And not even just because he's going senile. Remember when Bush got elected, it was going to be, well, yeah, he's a moron, but look at the people he brought in around him. Typically the executive branch, they sign bills and turn them into law. They veto. And they're supposed to be the bully pulpit for the party to get the big ideas out there that hopefully the legislators will turn into bills that will become laws that will help people. And this is all based upon the popular will of the people, what they actually want. Of course, you and I know that lobbying, a.k.a. bribery, is what runs this right now, which is why we live in an oligarchy.
And so, I think the picture has become a little bit more stark in, early September 2024. But even, had I mentioned similar things 6 months ago, I know that you wouldn't have argued with me too much, but it would have been a little bit harder case to make because people were still, thinking that some people were thinking that, Biden actually had his wits, but realistically, I mean, how much of the past 3 years has he had his wits? I would say close to zero of those 3 years.
The job takes a lot out of you. They all end up looking like they were in a time machine for 15 years by the time they finished the presidency. So, yeah. This is a good, what's the name of the book again and the author?
The author is Ellen Meiksins Wood, and she died not too long ago, maybe about 10 years ago. She's quite famous socialist. Maybe she doesn't enjoy as much fame as, say, Richard Wolff or David Harvey, but she's pretty famous. The book is called Democracy Against Capitalism, Renewing Historical Materialism.
Unless you take the money out of the system, it's not a democracy because whoever has the most money controls things, in Korea, what's good for Samsung is good for Korea. In America, I mean, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, why are there commercials for these things on TV?
Originally the motto was life, liberty, and property, but the founding fathers said, "Oh, that last part, that's showing too much of our hand. So let's change that. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness."
You're not taking my property, word.
And 250 years later, what does the pursuit of happiness amount to for most people?
Property. Drugs.
Property. Right?
I meant to say property, yeah.
Not real property, of course. Like I only have books. I don't have any other property besides that, right?
Every day that you and I walk the earth sober is just, it's a point in our favor that we just don't walk around as functional alcoholics. When you see what's going on, and you just have to live with it. And again, I don't know what's in that cup.
I've been raw dogging political reality without the mediation of chemicals for close to 10 years now.
You know what I mean? Because booze doesn't count. Not to deal with this. This is madness. This is utter madness. That's really good, man. You got anything else on that?
On that, well, one last thing. It goes back to the Marx quote that I gave earlier. I think people who earnestly consider themselves left will do well to stop focusing so much on electoral politics, because whoever's elected is going to be looking out for the top 10%, and they're not going to be looking out after you. And so whoever wins, sure, it might end up being accidentally better for the bottom 90% than the other guy. That might be the case. But that has the fact that it is better, let's say, has almost nothing to do with your vote, right? Because there's electoral college. We can cover that too.
I feel like the electoral college needs its own separate hour.
Sure.
To just get it, because that type of thing is evergreen, man, where we can just break that down. We can just break that down.
Well,
okay, brother.
The only thing I want to say about that is Trump has a lead in all the swing states, so all the betting sites have him up at the moment.
You should have seen the look on my face when Clinton lost. I'm watching that. I was watching that electoral map just turn red, and I was like, wait a minute. She's got more votes than him, though. Is this happening again?
When Clinton lost,
yeah.
I was like, yes.
The thing is, this electoral college thing is not supposed to happen twice in my lifetime. I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be.
I mean, every Republican win for the past, 40, 50 years has been that way?
Well, Nixon won in a landslide.
That might be the last time that a Republican won on both, I think.
Nixon won in a landslide, I think the first or second time.
Or maybe Reagan, too.
Reagan also won in a landslide.
He would be an exception. But since Reagan, I think there has been no.
Bush. Bush was the last one. Bush was the last one.
Did Bush ever get the popular vote? I don't think he did.
The first, his dad, I mean.
Oh, the first Bush. Okay.
Yeah, his dad. I think he was the last one to not electoral college. He only served one term, though.
Right. So wait, are you sure about that? Bush Sr. got the popular vote?
Yeah. Bush Sr. popular vote. Yep.
Okay. So it was. It's only before I was overshooting that by a lot. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're okay, man. You're okay. That was, when did he win?
88.
88. Yeah. 426 electoral votes.
What was the popular vote?
Jesus, look at this map. Look at that map.
Sweep it.
Rush Dukakis, man. Rush Dukakis. 426.11. Popular vote 48 million.
Okay, by 7 million or so.
Right, and then you get Clinton, Ross Perot. Clinton got 370. Look at that, though. Clinton got 370, and Bush got 426. Wow. Clinton gets 370. Next, 379. And then 2,000. This will always just, I tell you, man, when this happened and you were of an adult age, for me personally, I was pretty much, I'm done with this shit. There's no way. There's no way.
The thing that pissed me off was the lead up to the election. The press was covering Bush Jr. so softball, and I just thought to myself, what is fucking going on here?
Yeah. And it's funny because there's all this talk. Oh, Kamala started talking like a black woman. You got to thank the union for this, and you got to thank the union for that. And she's talking with a black accent. George Bush started talking like he was from Texas.
Yeah,
he was doing that.
Code switching is real. I'm not going to be offended by that.
Yeah. Give me a policy thing to get mad at. Oh, Hillary Clinton has hot sauce in her bag. Whatever. Probably she does. I don't know. Who cares?
Totally.
It's a good little diversion to just make us angry. I am enraged. All right, man. What do you say we do a little bit of good news, bad news?
Awesome. Give it to me.
I got good news and bad news, girls. The good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
Shit.
The good news is Alabama is giving prisoners an opportunity to go to work and earn money, letting them out of jail to give them a chance to get some work, get some work experience, whatever. The bad news is Alabama is letting prisoners get out of jail to do work so they can earn money and gain work experience. And then Alabama keeps 40% of their wages and denies them parole at a massive rate so that they can keep working for companies like McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King. So already you're not getting paid anything. You're getting what? Say you're getting $15 an hour. Alabama takes 40% of that. And then you probably still have to go through your FICA, Social Security, state, local, city, federal. So that is just brutal, my friend.
Yeah,
brutal.
You're probably getting paid basically pennies.
It is unreal. It is unreal. So we take a look at this website here, Bella Caledonia. Here's the headline. Alabama generates billions by trapping people in prison. The writer says, I didn't believe the story when I first saw it. Alabama's Department of Corrections is farming out prisoners to work at hundreds of companies, including McDonald's and Wendy's burger joints. The state takes 40% of wages and often denies parole to keep people as cheap labor. Additional good news, according to court documents filed in a class action, McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, and Wendy's face a lawsuit challenging an Alabama prison labor system as a form of coerced labor and convict leasing. It traps black Alabamians in a forced labor scheme and generates $450 million in an annual benefit for the state. Can you imagine? $450 million a year.
On a state budget, that's not chump change. That's
not at all. Not at all. That's almost $500 million. The lawsuit filed in federal district court in the Middle District of Alabama by 10 current and former incarcerated Alabamians, Union of Southern Service Workers, Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union, Mid-South Council, and the Woods Foundation, compares the current forced labor scheme to the extremely profitable system of convict leasing that powered Alabama's economy in the decades following the Civil War. 13th Amendment says you cannot be a slave anymore, except if you're incarcerated. Ta-da! Here we go. By 1898, Alabama's convict leasing system accounted for 70% of the state budget. 70%. More than a century later, the lawsuit alleges the Alabama Department of Corrections has resurrected a 19th century convict leasing system in violation of the U.S. Constitution, the Alabama Constitution, and a litany of federal laws meant to prevent human trafficking and discrimination. In November 2022, Alabama voters voted to amend the state constitution to outlaw all forms of involuntary servitude. Yet, we're still doing this. We're still doing this, man. We are talking evil. Evil!
That reminds me, speaking of prisons, we've got this great Twitter account that talks a lot about policing and mainly policing. His name is Alec Karakatsanis.
That's a name. That's a hell of a name.
So he's talking about Proposition 36 in California, upcoming election. He says, would dramatically expand prison and look at the cash behind it. A total of $13 million has been invested in this ballot measure. And then they list Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Taylor Fresh Foods, California Business Roundtable Issues PAC, In-N-Out Burgers, 7-Eleven, California Correctional Peace Officers Association, Truth in American Government Fund. And then some others besides that.
Oh my God, man! It is absurd. It is absurd, man.
Arnaud
McDonald's.
Bertrand,
Go ahead. Yeah, Arnaud Bertrand. He's great.
He commented on this. He says corporations that benefit from prison labor, which is effectively slavery, fund the law that I just mentioned that increases prison time for theft and drug crimes. The land of the free. ...
Ellipse. We call that an ellipsis. Oh man! From June 30th, 2023 to June 30th, 2024, McDonald's gross profit for those 12 months was $14.674 billion, a 5.56% increase year over year. The gross profit for 2023, $14.563 billion, 10% increase from 2022. 2022, 13.2, a 4.9% increase, and so on. Why not just pay people? Why? It's so brutal, man. Take a look at this little clip here from I Love These People, More Perfect Union.
A little clip here. You mentioned it's not enough information to identify the specific video you're referring to. Please provide more context, such as the name of the video, the platform where...
No.
Norbert is a moron. Edit this too, Norbert, you stupid mother. That's okay. That's why I always do little trimming and editing. I'm a moron. Okay, here we go.
Well, a lot of people are calling it modern slavery. Does that feel right?
I was just about to say, that's slavery. That's slavery. You took away the whips, but you put the paperwork. Took away the masters and you put them in uniform. Same difference. Same difference.
It kind of appears that there is a coordinated system in order to protect the labor that's created by the prison system.
Walk into a McDonald's in Alabama, and the worker flipping your McDouble could be an incarcerated person.
It's a sad situation of where they getting rich off of us.
The Alabama Department of Corrections farms out incarcerated people to work at hundreds of private companies and government agencies across the state.
McDonald's, Burger King, Golden Corral, Wendy's. They got a Wendy's contract right now. State Trooper's office.
They'll send everybody everywhere.
They'll send you everywhere. Yes, the parole office.
And even though ADOC trusts these incarcerated people to leave prison every day and work alongside the general public, many of them are still denied the chance at real freedom.
I work for y'all, but when I come up for parole, you deny me. Why would you deny me? Because I got free, because you're getting free service.
This is a story about corporations and the state of Alabama exploiting prison labor and the coercive policies they use to keep its citizens trapped in servitude.
Yeah, More Perfect Union. I have my complaints about them, but on the whole, they are freaking great.
That's solid work, man. That is solid work. It's just oof.
It's rough.
Can you imagine working 8 to 5 at McDonald's and then 40% of your check is gone and you got to go back to jail and you've been a good, quote unquote good prisoner? Oh, whoops, you got to go back in because we need you to work. I mean, because you're not rehabilitated. Yes, that's it.
And the point she brings up is super. What's the word? I don't know the word, but basically, talking about when they get out of prison and they're trying to look for work, they're not hired, right?
No, because the only job you can try for as a felon is the president. That's it. Despite a 2015 state law requiring that the Alabama Bureau of Pardons and Paroles make evidence-based parole decisions, that lawsuit that I mentioned alleges that the state denies black Alabamians parole at a 2-to-1 rate compared to white candidates in order to maintain the pool of workers, which is something that they had said that Kamala Harris did in California. It's something that they said that she did there. Alabama has one of the country's highest rates of incarceration and, quote, disproportionately harms, traumatizes, and incarcerates black people, unquote, according to the Alabama Appleseed Center for Law and Justice. That is so dark, man. It's so dark. It's dark, man. And it leads into my other story dealing with, people just working and not getting ahead. Take a look at this lady.
Can you tell me what your dream is in life?
My dream. I need some housing, affordable housing. I'm staying at a women's shelter.
What is something you're praying for?
Licking Street.
How do you get between here and the shelter?
I walk down the street. It'll take my time because, it's hot out there.
How long have you been in the shelter?
Oh, this is the 3rd trip.
Sonia is an elderly lady I met yesterday at Kroger. She told me that at the homeless shelter, she has to sleep on the floor on a little mat. Affordable housing in Nashville is about $1,000 a month. Just try to raise enough money to get her housing for at least a year. Click the link in my bio. I need y'all to step up with me on this one. Can you tell me what your dream is in life?
My dream.
Excellent.
So this guy, he helped this old lady out, Sonia, and here's the story on that. Philanthropist, his name is Charlie Rocket, and that's what's up. You see you see that woman's face? What do you pray for? Strength? So the good news is they raised $85,000 for her because it costs $1,000 to live, $1,000 a month to live in what? Tennessee? Louisville?
That's just
Kentucky?
Rent, right?
Yeah. Louisville, Kentucky rent is $1,000 a month?
Right. It should be like 300, right?
Louisville?
Right? If I'm fucking living in Kentucky, I want it to be 300 max.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am from New York. Matt is from California. Yes, I will admit to having flyover state jerkitude. You know what I mean? $1,000 a month to live in Louisville, Kentucky?
Guilty as charged.
You wildin', man. You wildin'. So this little old lady, clearly by herself, just you talk about walking to and from the homeless shelter, sleeping on a mat because she's working at Kroger and she's not making the bread to pay $1,000 a month. But guess what? Kroger is doing. Kroger is about to have a merger with Albertsons. And when they do this merger, one of the things that they promise is that there's going to be $1 billion price cut on groceries if Albertsons merger. And they're going to, we're going to cut. We're cutting. We're going to do that. You see, if combined, Albertsons and Kroger will control 13% of U.S. grocery sales. Walmart controls nearly 22%. And yes, a lot of people that work in Walmart are very similar to our poor friend Sonia, but they're clearly not getting paid enough. They're clearly not getting paid enough. Albertsons prices are 10 to 12% higher than that of Kroger's. And the argument is that the merged company could aim to shrink that gap, you see. They're going to drop prices when they merge, man. Don't you get it?
Now, there must be some, I'm assuming, you tell me if I'm wrong, there must be some pushback from about this. Like, I'm assuming the Biden administration is probably not super enthralled with this.
So what is happening is there is an investigation, and you love that word because investigations could go any way.
Yeah.
Because the first article that we looked at, that was ABC News. And so here, Retail Wire, it's currently under federal investigation as the CEOs testify before the FTC. The testimony from the CEOs revealed their intended plans for the proposed merger, should the government allow it to go forward. But there's some debate as to whether they'll be able to pull off their proposed plans. You see?
Okay, yeah, so it's the Federal Trade Commission. So, yeah, that they've got to okay these things, right? And so how draconian or not they want to be is probably up in the air.
Yeah, and the nature of capitalism is to make monopolies. So their argument is the Kroger CEO, Rodney McMullen, he says that they will be able to lower prices and contend with larger retailers such as Costco, Walmart, and Amazon if the merger was allowed to proceed. Walmart right now is doing a really big drone delivery push. They're one of the biggest, if not the biggest, drone delivery company in the United States, you know? And one of my favorite things, there's two things that I love here. McMullen promised the company will be able to lower grocery prices. The day that we merge will be the day we begin lowering prices. So that's number one. This is going to help people save money. And number two, together we have committed that no frontline workers will lose their jobs and no stores will close as a result of the merger, which is true for stores that remain with Kroger and those that are transferred to CMS. They have also committed to maintaining transferred associates' pay and health and wellness plans and to assume all collective bargaining agreements. So you see, all you have to do is let them become a mega corporation. Prices are going to go down. Nobody's going to lose their job. When did we heard that before? Let's see. Oh, Disney bought Fox, started laying off people immediately.
Yeah, I mean, in my 50-some years of experience, I don't remember a bigger merger like this that resulted in anything like lower prices and generally staff cuts are in the offing.
Yeah. When during the Clinton administration, the regulation was erased that allowed you to have a radio station and a TV station in the same market. Once those things started merging, people were getting laid off left and right. And that was just as I graduated college with my telecommunications degree to get into that media field. Yeah. And ever since then, what have been the results of that? Newspapers don't exist anymore, basically. Radio stations have been getting crushed. They're running radio stations with like 2 people as opposed to 300, the way it used to be. On and on and on. You got Sinclair Broadcasting just beaming out one piece of paper for everybody to read. There are great clips of Sinclair Broadcasting affiliates, everybody reading the exact same paper across like 6,000 screens. It's so crazy.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about the trouble in trying to get responsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
So, yeah. But hey, those prices are going to go down, Matt. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Thank you. I feel reassured.
Everything is going to be fine.
Soon.